everybody, it's week 4 of a build a day challenge. So for day 1 I made a excavator, and I'm just kind of getting this out of the way quickly because it doesn't look that impressive. I think the bucket looks the best. But yeah, it looks kind of stupid. So for today, for day 2, I made a farm. This is day 2 and 3, so day 3 is the sorting system here. And day 2 is all the crops and most of the other stuff. So this farm can do all crops. There's also one of every different color wool, honey, milk, and wax, beeswax, as well as eggs. And there's also pumpkins and melons, carrots, potatoes, beetroot, the sweet berries, and netherwort. And then this one is all wheat, because it feeds the next farm, which I'll show in a second. But you can probably guess what that is, since it's wheat. And then there's bamboo, sugarcane, and cactus. The reason why there's only one bamboo is because it grows really fast, and just one chamber is more than enough. There's also cocoa pods. There is no flower farm, but these flowers are for the bees, so these 8 hives are hooked up to the pipes for honey, which gets put in this tank. The honey is really slow, and for a few hours, so in all about 24 hours, this first tank only went up to about where this line of glass is. So I filled it the rest of the way with buckets just so I could turn it off and build the rest without it lagging. The milk fills up within, like definitely within the hour, probably within half an hour. It's really fast, even with one cow. And yeah, so this is how the cow works. The finger gets a bucket and milks the cow, and then it goes there into the tray to get pumped to the tank, and then the empty bucket goes into here, up with a fan, over and back into the chest to get used again for the finger. And yeah, that goes really fast. I'll show all the farms running in just a second. The honey literally just gets sucked out by the pump. The beeswax here is sheared with the hands. All the sheep are sheared with the hands, and then there's these chests for more shears, which they do, because they do use up durability. I just don't know how much at a time. So yeah, there's one of every different color of sheep. Obviously, you can add more sheep in each chamber for a increased amount of drops, because the sheep is, or the wool is the slowest ones. For leaving it on for a day and a half in total, it only does about this much, which seems okay. And if you're in a server, that's going to be the best. And obviously it's good anyways, because it's regenerating supply of colored wool. But yeah. Over here are all those switches for the different columns or farms. So this one's for the ones for this one, and so on. They're labeled here with basically what's at the bottom, or if it's just a single one, what it is. So all of the circular farms, so these 4, oh, this one's a little bit different. This one just hands it off up here, drops down to here, but all these other ones hand it off to the conveyor belt down at the bottom. They all have a few chests, and I have these chests here to make the stack it into half stacks, just so that the conveyor belts aren't backed up the whole time, because they get pretty full sometimes. Over here is where it picks up the eggs, and from here the pumpkins and melons. I did have it have mine carts under here to pick it up, but I realized that this way is just better because there's a guaranteed that it's going to pick it up. So when you leave the farm off for a bit, the cactus obviously grows a block higher than the collector or the drill, as so does the sugarcane and the bamboo. So those are all going to have a little bit of a loss, so you can't just leave it on or turn it off and then turn it back on to get a better, a bunch at a time. Uh, well, you could, and you would get more than if you had it on, for that few second period, but you'll still lose some. So it's gonna be really slow because everything's starting, but I'm also recording, so it doesn't like that either. But it should calm down like now. So you can see all those are already done. There is a problem with this one that it's sticky to this block, so when you build this, you probably just want to build the glass up one block higher, or you could just have the extraction system down at the bottom too. Yeah, you can see all those, and here the blocks being picked up. This one's taking a little bit longer, I believe, because it's trying to drop off all of its stuff. Also, if you leave it off and then turn it on, there's going to be a lot of losses in the other ones too, because it can't necessarily hold them all at once. And so it's going to drop them all on the ground. But when it's running constantly, you don't need more than 3 chests in order to pick up everything. So if you want, you can put more chests when you make it. So when you turn it on, it'll collect everything. But that doesn't really matter. Here you can see it's not going to fill it because there's nowhere for it to go. But the honey, the milk, and these are working. And you can see all the sheep are sheared now. And it's really slow. Oh, and the rates, obviously the rates for the wool aren't as great as you might want if you're doing a big project, but they're pretty good. And I forget some of them, and also I failed some of them. But some of them are really good, and one or two besides the wool aren't that great, but it's still automated, and you don't have to do any work besides building the original thing. So I'm pretty sure that this is pretty good. Potatoes are really good. The bamboo is definitely good. The wheat, because I added a whole tower for the next farm over, are also pretty good, like really good. Because before I only had, 2 layers, and that wasn't doing that good. Sugar beet, I think is okay. The pumpkins, I think were not so good, but if you just leave it on, and the reason why you can turn them off and on individually is because some of them you don't need, and some of them you always want a constant supply of. Cocoa pods, I believe, are pretty good. I think those were okay. Carrots are definitely good. Watermelon was definitely good. I believe these two are pretty good. That was definitely good, and this was okay. So, on to the next farm is a meat farm. So for this, I'll go over the rates. So, beef and mutton are pretty good. Chicken, it's not really catching up. Like I had one design. Also from this farm, you get feathers, which are not as good as the first two, but it's still pretty good. Lots of white wool, lots of leather, and a bunch of miscellaneous. Also, the seeds are not part of that. This is just some junk, but and I don't know why some of this is going here, but basically just extra colors of wool. So, oh, that's probably because one of them suffocated. So, how it works is first this conveyor belt brings the seeds, distributes them there, and the wheat, and brings them here to fill these chests. And then the fingers all breed these animals. The first half here is cows, next half is sheep. So every 5 minutes there's a new cow or a new sheep, and then the conveyor belts bring them to this side, and then every 20 minutes, not every 20 minutes, so every 5 minutes, after waiting 20 minutes, there's a new, or one of them grows up, and then there's lava in here that's powered by fans, that's pushing heat all the way across here, and so they kind of get burnt. And then once they die, the cooked steak goes on here and up to the storage. And it's the same thing for the chickens. It's the same thing for the chickens. Here's the distributing for the chickens feed. The chickens, once they're bred, get shot into here, and then they can't see their parents, and then so they don't try to get out. I haven't had any problems with anything getting stuck down there. But then when they grow up, why is everything broken? They get hit by the hot blast, and then they die, and then the cooked chicken goes here. The chicken isn't as efficient. For some reason, but it's alright. And also you have a few other meats as well. I believe that's all for, oh yeah, and then when you stop it, when it works, the babies want to go to their parents, so, and if they do, then there's too many to breed in here, and then that just messes it up, and so these are here to stop them from going far, and because there's glass, they might grow up in the walls and not die, and my original design had lava over each one of them, so when they grew up and the thing was stopped, then it would still work until they were all gone. But now it's a little bit problematic, but yeah, you could probably just put in the lava still. I'm not going to turn it off because apparently there's a bunch of problems with that right now, but yeah, you can see how it works. Also, the speedometer here is setting out a signal, and when it stops, then all those go down. Alright, and so for day 5, I made a hostile mob farm. This is, I made this design, you probably know it by looking at it, but I think it was Nembomb that I made the design from, of the spawners. So yeah, you can see that they get dropped down, and I'll show this. They get dropped down in those two, and you can add more that way, or more that way, and just tie them in if you want even more rates, but this is kind of pretty good anyways. And so they come through here, then get burnt by this. And then, since there's a lot, they have to go through this chest where, just in case there's a pile up, it can build up in there. Because it's not a constant flow, but when there is a flow of mobs, it's a lot. So I'll turn it on. And when you turn it on, there's also speedometers over there turning the flow of water on. So just wait a few seconds. You can see in the map over here that there's a lot coming down. And now the flow starts. The only few problems is that there's spiders that get caught up in the corners, but they usually get pulled along with all the other mobs going through. And they almost always are dead by the time they hit the wall there. And then it'll gathers it, puts it in here to flow along. I don't know why it's going slower than the variable is going. There's a few problems with this mod still, but that's because it's in development. And running it for a few hours even, there's over a full chest of leather. Oh, for the leather, I take the rotten flesh and cook it. I don't know, I forget if that's because or one of the vanilla tweaks data packs, or if it's part of this mod that you can do that, because I know vanilla tweaks data pack you can do that with the furnace, but I don't know if that is built in through the mod too. There's over a full chest, double chest of bones, gunpowder, and arrows as well. And there's also a full chest of string. And then I just have two miscellaneous chests, or rows. So you'll get some sugar, glowstone, and redstone. You get these. This is just for testing something to beat up the stragglers, but I decided against it because they'll just burn eventually. And yeah, there's two just in case there's a lot before you take it all out. So that's day 5. That's day 5. Here's day 6. It's a iron farm. There is a problem with it. So the iron golems get spawned, they drop here and get burnt, and then and you probably don't even need it this fast, but I had it originally that it brought the iron golems around to get all burnt in one spot, but that wasn't working properly, so I changed it to this. And then the iron gets brought up here. Iron goes into these ones, and the poppies go into that one. Anything extra gets burnt, like all the other farms. And I copied this design. I forget who this was. Maybe Numdabom again. But I copied it from my survival world, where it was working properly. And maybe it's because I have them stacked, but that doesn't seem to be a problem because this one usually spawns one there and there, and then when they come around, only there, and then all the other platforms aren't being used. So I'm not good at figuring those technical stuffs out. It may be because I'm on 1.16. No, 1.16.6.5. So there's probably a few things wrong with it now, but I'm not smart enough in that sense to figure it out. And it doesn't seem to be working at all anymore. But when it was working for a few hours, I stopped. I was getting upset about it, so I stopped playing, or I quit the game soon after I got it finished, and this is all that was in there already. So it's pretty efficient, even with them all not working. If someone knows why it's not working, that would be lovely. Apparently you don't need the workstations for them anymore, but that seemed to just stop it altogether, but now it just doesn't seem to work anyways, so I don't know. So that's day 6. And then day 7, and this isn't quite as efficient as I thought it would be, that I would like, but in here, and this is you're gonna have to find a spawner, but in here there's a zombie spawner, and it's probably too close to that, Actually, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not good at those technical things in Minecraft. But when they spawn, you go here through the water, and this slows down to really slow, so they get turned into drowns, and then they'll get here, they'll get beaten up, and then the drops go away. And because it's drowns in 1.17, it'll be copper, but and that's I just copied this part from the other farm, but in 1.17 it'll be copper, I believe, but right still in 1.16 they drop gold. I think a few just came from there now, but anyways. So yeah, they get pushed in here, and it might be all the position that I have the spawner in, and you can't fine tune it as much as like there's nothing between 4 and 8, so depending on how many you have, you can do if you figure out how to get them coming in really fast, then you can do 4. If you're slower, you can do 8. You just want them to be converted to drowns before they exit this part and get onto the conveyor belt. So just for demonstration, once they're all converted, I'll just go it really fast. Yeah, so there is a small problem that there's no way, or not really a good way I can get one of these fists down to this area for the small ones. So they just kind of have to sit there and despawn. Because I could open that up and then they could burn, but it seems to reduce the drops for the other drowns. So yeah, you can see it's there. Takes a few seconds. Got to cover this up. This part there should be a wall here with glass. Yeah, you can see it. Set it up. Since we're already dealing with leather or rotten flesh in a different farm, all the rotten flesh just gets dropped in the fire to go away. But it picks up gold, and you can change that to copper in 1.17. Trident, if it drops any, which is very unlikely, and then their heads should go here. So thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and please give a like and subscribe if you are willing, and bye.